our fundamental duty is to make sure Americans can feel safe and secure in their own communities. And of course, violence and mass violence are just one part of that. The range of criminal and national security threats that we face as a nation has never been greater or more diverse, and the demands and expectations on the FBI have never been higher.
FBI Director Chris Wray admitting that the violent crime problem in this country is real after getting grilled by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Former Republican Congressman Doug Collins is speaking at the conservative conference CPAC this weekend about the need for a new approach to criminal justice. Congressman, always great to see you. Christopher Wray acknowledges that we have a crime problem in this country, but I'm not necessarily sure that there's a plan to fix it, right? Americans, unfortunately, don't feel safe and secure in their communities across this country, and it's becoming a huge problem. Is that part of your messaging at CPAC this weekend?
Well, it is part of our message. Chris Wray actually acknowledging that there's a crime problem. That's not like acknowledging, that there's air in the air to breathe. I mean, The problem is Chris Wray and the Department of Justice and the FBI have downplayed this, and they went after, really took political targets to where the American people don't feel that the FBI is actually looking out for them anymore. Chris Wray needs to do a cleaning house, starting with himself, in my opinion. He needs to be removed so that we can actually restore what we believe is honesty and integrity in our FBI. So instead of going after parents at school board meetings or other political targets, they can actually deal with the crime problem that we're seeing across the country.
Crime and refunding the police was one of President Trump's major campaign mantras as he was crossing and traversing the country in the last election. But there was so much going on, it seemed to be overshadowed by other issues. Still, there are a lot of people now seeing how this problem has only gotten worse that are saying this is a really important issue for them going into the midterms.
It is a huge issue, and we got to return to a conservative principle when it comes to criminal justice. Number one, we got to support our police and fund them properly. We got to train them properly so that they can be in the communities doing what they're supposed to do. We've got to have them. We've also got to take prosecutors who actually will prosecute the law instead of the George Soros-funded DAs who are out there saying we're not going to enforce law. We're going to drop down felonies to misdemeanors. We have people being let out with no bail or on their own recognizance after they violently attacked Lee Zeldin, a friend of mine who was running for governor. This is what we've got to fight against. Conservatives actually believe in real criminal justice reform. Donald Trump signed my bill, the First Step Act, which actually started to put into place things that actually work. Conservatives have to get that message out there that we can restore safety while at the same point providing hope and opportunity for those communities that need it most.
You bring up the DAs, and they're a huge problem, especially here in New York City. Alvin Bragg was voted into office. Governor Hochul or whoever takes over from her, if somebody else new comes in, has the opportunity, has the power to remove Alvin Bragg. And it seems to me that this is the type of person, for example, just using him as an example, that's not going to step down on his own, that he will have to be forcefully removed.
I agree. If there's a way for the governor of New York to remove them, they should already. I mean, take the example of Florida, where you're taking, look, prosecutors are supposed to prosecute the law. They're not defense attorneys anymore. They're not general practice of the bar. They're there and swear a different oath, actually, as a prosecutor oath, to actually say we need to actually prosecute crimes and not downgrade those crimes. This is the part that people don't understand. That's not criminal justice reform. That's a bunch of liberal bull that is being propagated as criminal justice reform. And a DA like Alvin Bragg, or we see in Gascon in L.A. or anywhere else, they need to be removed and not allowed to continue to violate the public trust.
Yeah, we were having a conversation that with respect to criminal justice reform, DAs like Bragg will use, a couple of examples to demonstrate his point. But in practice, what he's doing, essentially allowing the same criminals here in New York City to continuously commit crimes and then be released back on the street, is actually, it flies in the face of what you would want him to do. And it's actually not helping the system, it's hurting it.
And actually, for her sake, I really...
It's very much hurting it, and it's taking real reform, like trying to find people who need help with mental health, drug addiction, these kind of things, getting them the proper, making sure that they're held accountable for what they do, but yet getting the treatment they need so they can return to society a better person. How does it affect someone who commits a violent act and is immediately let back out with no accountability? It doesn't. In fact, Alvin Bragg is actually hurting the very people of New York he's supposed to be protecting, and it's criminal. It's also negligent in my mind that he would do things like this, and it's destroying the trust across the country.
It sure is, and a lot of people are calling for change on this issue, and they will have to exercise their voice in November at the voting booth. That's the only way to do it. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much.
It's always good to be with you. Take care.
All right.